He's talking about too many people are going to cause global warming. We're going to turn into cannibals. Utter Johnny nonsense in the first degree. All right, let's go through some of these calls. Let's go to Don in New York. Don, what's popping?
Recently, I noticed a bird that has upside-down wings pointed down, and it's interesting what it says on this new $20 bill here. It says, United States Federal Reserve System.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they usually say reserve note. Well, isn't it usually... Oh, it's not saying bank anymore? It says system.
It says system.
Now, this is the latest 20 with all the colors?
You got it.
I haven't seen this one, because this is what, third generation 20 after they made the big head? At first, they came in with the big head 20, and then after the big head 20, they put some more, like, embossed, I guess, kind of green on there over the $20 bill and everything else. And then the third generation one is they have that embossed ink, and then they have a stratosphere of colors. It's no longer just green. And you're saying that they've now taken it from bank and now system. That's probably correct, because eventually we're not going to have dollars anymore. We're going to have a global currency and a carbon tax. So it will be a system, won't it?
Yeah. I'm well aware of that. I studied the education system shortly after 9/11. I was involved with that a little bit, doing a little bit of research on that, and learned quite a bit. Still learning, by the way. But I'm very concerned about this with switching over to a bank to a system, which is, what's after system?
Well, it's a chip population where we're under a global, worldwide mind is what they're calling it, and we're a subservient class to the elites who get to rule over us like we're dogs. It's a wonderful system, and I don't know why you're complaining, sir. Let's jump to the next caller. Let's jump to the next caller. Let's go to Dan in Florida. Let's bow down to our masters and make it easier for them, because you know what? We're scum. We deserve to live like slaves, obviously. We weren't born into royalty. We weren't born into wealth, so we should just cow down to those that were. All right, Dan, what's on your mind?
Okay, so they're going to stabilize the population. All right, I'm sure he means well with that statement right there.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
I got a couple questions for you here tonight, man. They're actually pretty good ones. The first one's about 9/11. You sound like you're pretty much like an expert on that whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're not a physicist, but when you go in and you start talking about that stuff, honestly, you sound pretty close to a physicist, because you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Well, thank you.
As far as the video goes for the Pentagon, where the plane was actually shown supposedly flying into the Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've watched that several times. All right. I mean, can you tell?
There's a new one, right?
No, I haven't seen the new one. Absolutely not.
Yeah, there is a new one. Again, there's no plane there, but you can see the explosion. It's want to see it's from the CIA base in Langley, Virginia, and you can see that there's definitely some frames missing from it. It's definitely a security camera, and you can see the explosion, but you see no aircraft coming in.
Okay, well, the one on Wikipedia.com, and as well as I think the one in Alex, one of his movies and things like that.
So that's the 6-frame still shot, right? The one that's from
it looks like the frames are missing as well. I mean, you can see it on the right-hand side, come into frame, and then, bam, it's like it disappears, and then you just see the explosion all of a sudden.
Look, man, bottom line is that you can see from the Pentagon that day, the overhead helicopter photographs, that there are cameras, CCTV cameras on the top of the Pentagon. There would have been a straight shot to the baby maker, a front shot of that plane or whatever hit the building. Okay, they could have released that day one, literally 30 minutes after the attack, just like the World Trade Center when we were seeing 30 minutes after the attack. We were seeing, everything that was possibly out there. I mean, it took less than, I think, even with the first plane being recorded only by the Naudet brothers and one other person, we still saw that at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And for the Pentagon,
here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. As far as that particular video I'm talking about, though, not the ones you're talking about, the one where you can see it like coming frame from the right hand side, it's like the security camera on the guard post.
Yep.
I'm wondering if there has been any like Hollywood experts, some of the filmmakers and stuff like that. I mean, have they actually sat down and analyzed that piece of video footage to actually, see what's going on with it?
I would say not the Hollywood guys, but there are definitely documentaries out there.
The top experts.
And I would say no Hollywood guys, but I would say that there was that Dutch documentary out there that went through a lot of the things that we did in Loose Change Second Edition, not the Final Cut. Final Cut, we really went and talked to a lot more eyewitnesses, presented as much evidence as possible. But they talked to people, and when they were first shown the photographs, they were in shock, and then later on they said, no, this has to be a plane, blah, 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 blah. But in that same documentary, you had Danny Jawenko, who was this controlled demolition expert for over 27 years, look at the Twin Towers and say, no, that wasn't a controlled demolition, but then shown World Trade Center 7 for the first time, and there was no doubt in his mind that it was a controlled demolition, and he holds that to this day. I can't remember what that... Just look for the Dutch 9/11 documentary, and that one was actually about as fair and balanced as it could get for a mainstream news outlet.
All right, I just got a quick second question here, but I mean, as far as that video, I want to say one more thing about it. I mean, it looks extremely sketchy, and they're on the news saying, "Oh yeah, this is conclusive evidence that it was what we say it is," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? That's not. Well,
you remember 5 years afterwards, or around 5 years afterwards, they said they were going to release another video that was going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the plane had hit. And all they did was release those videos, and instead of the 6 frames, they released the whole thing. There was literally nothing different.
Okay. Yeah, it's all incredibly sketchy. Second, question here real quick. Obviously, we hear a lot of bad stuff about some of the political leaders and things like that, right? We hear a lot of bad stuff. A lot of this stuff is absolutely documented. A lot of them are totally corrupt. I understand that. But as far as when you go and you sit down and you eat dinner and you watch television, you watch these people on TV talking, all right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times you don't get the vibe. You can't pick up the negativity from them through your television. It's almost like you're being hypnotized. I don't understand how they're actually able to do that through the TV. And from a technical perspective, because I know you get into some of the technical things with computers and things like that, is that correct?
Yeah, I did computer graphics before I started doing this stuff.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I know, but anyway, yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, from a technical perspective, is there a way they are literally letting you see what they want you to see, and are they doing it somehow where they're actually filtering out some information so you just can't, see their true persona, their true character, what they're really about, and things like that? Or is there another thing? I mean,
no, it's more like they know how to shoot things. So in other words, when you're watching Obama last night, right? You're literally watching it as a spectator. The cameras are from a lower perspective. It's like you're sitting down and you're below, the emperor. And if you just watch it, you're always looking up at a podium. You're always looking up at the authority figure. You're never looking down on them. It's never... The only time it comes into eye level is like State of the Union. But then when you're watching it on that eye level thing, you'll also notice that you're not only seeing one podium, but you're seeing 3 pillars. And the brain is attracted to design, okay? And it's just like any kind of a good design. You want one thing to focus on. So when Obama's up there, they want to show Obama. He's the centerpiece. They center him in the camera. They'll put it lower so you're literally looking up to him as the authority figure. These are just tricks in editing. For instance, if I want to make somebody look smaller, I will shoot them from an upper angle. If I want to make it look like they're weak or they're powerless or they're less authoritative, you shoot them from a downward angle and they look much smaller and less imposing, and you really don't listen to what they have to say as much. It's all about positioning the camera and the lighting, and not only that, but I mean the makeup too. I mean, they got, now with high-def television, you can really see it more and more, but they put these guys in full makeup. I mean, it is incredible to me that a lot of people can't see through their lives. But then I watched did you watch the Obama thing yesterday?
Actually, no, I did not. I actually don't watch TV. I pretty much get all of my information almost from the alternative media, and I don't have cable. So.
Yeah, I do. And actually, we watched it off of Bunny Ears, and I got to tell you, even myself, I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy is so much more well-spoken than the last guy, and man, he is just going to trip the population. So they have all these little camera tricks, but it always helps to have a good orator in there, and that's what Obama's about. I thank you for the call. We're going to jump to your calls after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.